Good afternoon, everybody. So, in yesterday's lecture, I started with the introduction about stability. The system is said to be stable if an input is bounded and the output is bounded. If within limits, if we apply the input, the output is also within limits. Now, suppose if for a bounded input, if the output is unbounded, for small input, the output goes very high. So, in that case, we say the system is unstable, and to test the stability, we need to know the location of the poles. So, if the poles are lying on left half of S plane, the system is said to be stable. If any of the pole is lying on right half of the S plane, the system is unstable. If the poles are lying on imaginary axis, where the real part is 0, the system is said to be conditionally stable or marginally stable. So, with this concepts which I had already explained in yesterday's lecture, so just quickly recap the points which I had discussed yesterday. Recap the points which we had discussed to find the stability. Now, to test the stability, as I told, the one thing required is we should know the location of closed loop system poles. Now, the one of the requirement to test the stability is we must know the location of closed loop system poles, and depending upon the poles, just let me draw the S plane where the poles can be located. The poles may be real, where they can lie on positive real axis or negative real axis, or the poles may be positive imaginary and negative imaginary, they are in complex conjugate, or the poles may be with negative real part, complex conjugate, of the poles may be positive real part with complex conjugate, or the poles may be purely imaginary, purely real, or they may be purely imaginary, or they may be real with positive part. So, these are the different combination of poles of a characteristic equation of a given system. Now, as we are finding the closed loop poles, you must know the characteristic equation. To get the closed loop poles, we need to know characteristic equation. If open loop transfer function is given, open loop transfer function is given, in that case characteristic equation is equal to 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. Characteristic equation. Now, we need to calculate the poles of characteristic equation, which is closed loop system 1 plus g of s into h of s. Now, as I told, for the system to be stable, for stability, the condition, first one, if all the poles lie on LHS of S plane, the system is stable. So, the system is stable if all the poles of characteristic equation 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0, they lie on LHS of S plane, then the system is stays to be stable. So we can represent the stable region. So LHS of S plane towards left of the imaginary axis is called as a stable region. Now, if any of the pole lies on right hand side of S plane, the system is unstable. Right hand side of S plane towards right of the j omega axis, this is RHS of S plane. If the poles lies anywhere here, they may be complex conjugate, they may be real, or they may be only real. The region, this region is called as unstable region. Now the third point, where depending upon the location of the poles, if the poles lie on j omega axis, means where the poles are purely imaginary, system is marginally stable. And the value of K gain corresponding to this marginal stability is called as K max. Gain of a system will be maximum. For this maximum value of K, so whenever we put into characteristic equation, we will get the poles which are purely imaginary. In that case, the system is called marginally stable. So first thing is, you are supposed to know get the characteristic equation. For the numericals, directly the characteristic equation may be given, or it may be given open loop transfer function. If open loop transfer function is given, you need to find the characteristic equation. If characteristic equation is directly given, you need not to find 1 plus gh. Directly you have to solve for the location of the poles. So the system, when the poles are on j omega axis, say for example j omega axis, where I mark here, the system is marginally stable, where the real part is 0. Real part is 0, plus minus j omega. Now, by knowing the Routh-Hurwitz, the condition for the system to be stable, now you need to find the location of the poles, whether all the poles of a system are lying on right of S plane, or whether all the poles are lying on left of S plane, or some of the poles are lying on right of S plane, some of poles lying on j omega axis. To know these things is necessary to predict the stability of a given system. The stability can be assessed by knowing the location of the poles. So this is the recap of the points which I had covered in yesterday's class. Stable if the poles are lying left half of S plane, left side of the j omega axis, system is stable. If the poles are lying right half of the S plane, the system is unstable. If the poles are lying on j omega axis, y axis is nothing but imaginary axis, in that case the system is marginally stable. And the limiting value, the K for which the roots are purely imaginary, is called as a maximum gain. Above this gain value, the system is unstable. Below that gain value, the system is stable. Exactly that limiting value of k, the system is marginally stable. Marginally stable. So by knowing these concepts, so we'll solve some numericals to evaluate the stability of a given system. And now one thing is which we need to know at this point is, if the characteristic equation is up to third order, first order only one pole is there where we can equate it to 0 and you can find the location of the poles. And the second one, if the system is second order, two poles where you can find the location of the pole just by solving a quadratic equation. Suppose if it is a third order even, where you can solve it by using your calci by knowing the constants a, b, c and d. For quadratic equation, by knowing a, b and c, you can find the roots of characteristic equation. Now for the order of the system, where the poles are more than 3, order is nothing but number of poles. When the number of poles are more than 3, it is difficult to solve by using your calculator, where we can find the solution up to third order equation. So in that case, we need to know whether the roots are lying on left half of S-plane, all the roots, or some of the roots are lying on right half of S-plane, or whether the roots are lying on j omega axis. Only knowing where they are lying, not exact location of the poles, whether where they are lying. Say for example, if they are lying left half of, I don't want to know the location. I want to test whether the system is stable or not, just by knowing the where they are lying. If they are lying left half of S-plane, system is stable. If one of the root lies on right half of S-plane, system is unstable. If few roots are lying on j omega axis, system is marginally stable. I want to know only the where the poles are lying, not the location of the poles, just whether they are LHS of S-plane, whether they are lying on LHS of S-plane, or whether they are lying on j omega axis. So to know this, where they are lying, we have a test called as a given by Routh-Hurwitz criterion. We have to use Routh-Hurwitz criterion to find the where the poles are lying, not locations, just whether they are lying on left half of S-plane, whether the poles are on right half of S-plane, how many are on right half of S-plane, how many are on left half of S-plane. These things to know, we have a criteria given by Routh and Hurwitz, two scientists which are given combinedly to test the stability of a given system. Now I will take an characteristic equation directly. I will start with characteristic equation. I'll take some particular order of order n is equal to 5. So the number of poles are 5. Now the characteristic equation, we can write it as a with their coefficients a naught s raised to 5, a1 s raised to 4, a2 s raised to 3, a3 s square, a4 s plus a5 equal to 0. So none of the terms are missing here. So apply the Routh-Hurwitz criteria. One of the requirement is there should not be any missing terms. All the coefficients must present. This is one of the drawback of the Routh-Hurwitz criteria, where we need all the coefficients must present, where a0, a1, a2, a5 are the coefficients, constant coefficients. Now as the equation is fifth order, you need to write down or you have to create, so what we will call as a Routh array, or it is also called RH table or Routh-Hurwitz array. You need to find Routh array or Routh-Hurwitz table or Routh-Hurwitz array. And to construct a table or an array, just as the order is 5, you write down the S terms: S raised to 5, S raised to 4, S raised to 3, S raised to 2, S raised to 1, S raised to 0. Write down total how many terms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now once you write down these S terms, decreasing order of their powers, first row of the RH table, S raised to 5, write the coefficient of S raised to 5. And while writing the next element, you need to consider alternate element. Once you consider A0, then you go for S raised to 5 is the odd power of S term. Similarly, next odd power of S term will be S cube. Then you write its coefficient. The next one will be S raised to 1. Again, 1 is odd and its coefficient is A4. Now, for the next row, first row is completed. Write the alternate coefficients of the terms S raised to 5, S raised to 3, S raised to 1. Now next one, we have a S raised to 4 order row. In that case, S raised to 4 coefficient is A1. Now write the next even numbers. S raised to 4 is even. S raised to square. Next term will be A3. The next one will be S raised to 0. No, so it will be of A5. The first two rows you will get directly from the given characteristic equation. First two rows, and it is important to get the first two rows. If you would commit any mistake over here, then complete table will go wrong. So careful, write the coefficients of every alternate terms. Suppose if the system is fourth order, you will get fourth order, first row, 3 elements, but here you will get only 2 terms. So in that case, you need to add a 0, any missing terms. Any short of the coefficients, you write them as a 0. This is the case when the order is fourth. Now in this case, as there are 6 terms, 3 terms you will get 3 terms in the second row. For the fourth order, you will get total 5 terms. In the first row, you will get 4 terms. Second row, you will get only 2 terms. So this is falling short. So whenever the falling short elements, you make them as a 0. Enter them as a 0. So once you get the first 2 rows, now you have to write down the coefficient of third row. These 2 are sufficient to get the next row. So I will write B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2, E1. Now, this is how you are supposed to complete the table. Now to get B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2, E1, C1, C2, B1, B2. Now, it is necessary to complete the table where you need to evaluate B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2 and E1. Now let me explain how to get the remaining coefficients from the above 2 rows. First 2 rows are important. If you commit any mistake, even writing the sign of a coefficient, you will go wrong and everything will be wrong. So the next thing is to evaluate B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2 and E1. Now to get the element B1, first 2 rows are obtained directly. Now I will get the coefficient of third row, row 3, where the coefficient is B1. To get the B1, you have to get the determinants. You have to get the determinants. So the determinant will be obtained A1 into A2. Determinant will be obtained A1 into A2. This is not as you are doing the determinants in your matrix, just little bit reverse. First you are in the matrix case you will to consider A0 A3 minus A2 A1, but here it will be A1 A2 minus A0 A3 divided by A1. So how to get B1? A0 A3 minus A0 A3 A0 A1 A2 minus A0 A3 divided by A1. Now similarly to get B2, now instead of A1 A2 we should move to A1 A4 minus A0 A5 divided by A1. A1 A4 minus A0 A5 divided by A1. So we got B1 B2, B1 B2. There will be no B3 because these elements are 0. This into 0, this into 0, it will be 0 only. You will get only 2 elements. Now to get C1, row 4, third row, or sorry, fourth row. In that case, C1. To get C1, we know already how to get the determinants. B1 A3 minus A1 B2 divided by B1. B1 A3 minus B1 A3. Now to get this, B1 A3 minus A1 B2 divided by B1 divided by B1. Now how to get C2 now? C2, B1 A5 minus A1, this term is 0, A1 into 0, 0 divided by B1, B1 A5 minus A1 into 0, 0 only, B1 A5 divided by B1. So this will be directly is equal to, so I will write for your simplicity, B1 A3, B1 A5, so to get C2 is equal to, how to get C2? B1 A5 minus B1 A5 minus A1 into 0 divided by B1. So this will be 0, B1 gets cancelled, and this will be equal to A5. B1 will be, C2 will be A5. So this is equal to A5. Now to get D1, B1 C2, fifth row. Now to get D1, D1 will be equal to C1 B2 minus B1 C2, C1 B2 minus B1 C2 divided by C1. Now D2, this will be this into this, so D2 will be D2 will be equal to this into 0, this into 0. D2 will be equal to 0 only. So only D1 will exist. Only D1 will exist. Now the last row, sixth row, E1 is equal to D1 C2 minus C1 D2. D2 is 0. C1 into 0. This will be 0. D1 C2 divided by D1. D1 C2 divided by D1 equal to C2. C2 which we have got already A5. So E1 is A5. This is how you are supposed to get complete table, RH table for a given numerical depending upon its order. Now quickly, first to write down the first row alternate coefficients of a given characteristic equation. Next for the E1 power of S term alternate terms to get the first two rows. Any missing terms in this you write it as a 0. If there are odd number of terms, you are supposed to fill it with a 0 if it contains odd number. Now to get B1, B2, A1, A2 minus A0, A3 divided by A1, B2, A1, A4 minus A0, A5 divided by A1, you get B2. So similarly, you can take, as it contains 3, you can take the missing term as a 0. Now the next one, C1 is equal to B1, A3 minus A1, B2 divided by B1. C2 is equal to B1 A5 minus A1 into 0, 0 divided by B1. So C2 will be equal to A5. D1 is equal to C1 B2 minus B1 C2 divided by C1. You will get D1. D2 obviously, as these two terms are 0, so this will become 0. Now E1 will be equal to D1 C2 minus C1 D2. D2 is 0. This term will be 0. D1 C2 divided by D1 will be C2, which is equal to A5. Nothing but E1. Always the last term will be the constant coefficient. Always the last term will be the constant coefficient. Without doing calculations, you can write down it directly. Without doing any calculations, you can write the last term which is equal to the constant coefficient. So this is how you must be able to write down the Routh-Hurwitz table, RH table. Now how to test the stability comes. How to test the stability comes. How many columns are there in your RH table? So this I will write column 1, this I will write column 2, this I will write column 3. There are 3 columns. Now once you complete, the important thing is writing correctly the RH table, Routh-Hurwitz table or RH array. Now if we get the Routh-Hurwitz array, we can predict the stability. We can predict the stability. How to predict the stability now? For condition, I will write the conditions. First condition, if there are no sign changes in first column, the system is important, stable. So how to test the stability? For the system to be stable, there should not be any sign changes in the first column. Say for example, coefficient first column, elements are A0, A1, B1, C1, D1, E1. A0 is according to this positive, A1 is positive, B1 is positive, C1 sign is positive, D1 is positive, E1 is positive. I assumed if the signs of all the elements in the first column of Routh array are positive or they all may be negative. So how to test the sign changes? Is there any sign change? 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 As there are no sign changes. No sign changes in the first column of RH table will give the system stable, or we can say that all the roots of this characteristic equation are lying on left half of S plane when there are no sign changes in the first column of RH array, then the system is said to be stable. Now condition 2. What is the second condition? Now if there are any sign changes, बरोबर घेतलं? हां the second condition, the sign changes in first column of RH table, the sign changes in the first column of RH table will give number of roots lying on RHS of S plane. So how to check the sign changes now? How to check the sign changes? Now all are positive. All are positive. So the system is stable. So while calculating B1, this becomes negative. While calculating, so I will write the signs. Plus. While calculating B1 is negative. Similarly C1, D1, E1 again they are positive. Now you need to evaluate number of sign changes. Number of sign changes. So again you start from the top. Is there any sign change? Positive to positive, no sign change. Is there any sign change? Positive to negative, one sign change. Is the sign changed negative to positive? Again, is there any sign change? No sign change. Is there any sign change? Here no sign change, no sign change, no sign change. Here there are two sign changes. 1 plus 1. Two sign changes is nothing but two roots are lying on RHS of S plane. So what we can predict? The system is unstable. System is unstable. Now to test the system marginally stable, you need to find the auxiliary equation. You need to find the auxiliary equation. Usually the auxiliary equation will be the power of S square or power of S raised to 4. So you write down the equation corresponding to S square, and that will be dealing with, I will be discussing whenever we will be dealing with numericals. So it is difficult to express the things in this RH table. The main concepts are the system is said to be stable if there are no sign changes in the first column of RH table. If there are sign changes in the first column, as many sign changes, those many roots are lying on RHS of S plane and the system is unstable. So as you know, two sign changes, two are lying on RHS. How many are left? 1, 2, 3. There are no three sign changes. Nothing but three roots are lying on LHS of S plane. LHS of S plane. Amongst these three, there may be some roots which are lying on purely imaginary axis, which we can find it by using the auxiliary equation. That will be dealing whenever we are discussing the numericals. Whenever we are discussing the numericals, we can note down the auxiliary equation. We can find the roots so that the roots are purely imaginary or not, to test those things. So those we'll be discussing in the numerical itself. So this is how we can construct the RH table. From the RH table, we can predict the stability, whether the system is stable, unstable, or how many roots are lying on LHS of S plane, how many roots are lying on RHS of S plane, how many roots are lying on imaginary axis. If the roots are lying on imaginary axis, what is the frequency of oscillation? As it is purely imaginary, what is the frequency of oscillation? That we can find it by auxiliary equation. Now these are the main concepts which are discussed so far. So once you familiar with the numericals, you will understand the once the numericals are solved, you will be clearly understand the concepts of RH criteria. Now, what is the drawbacks of this RH table? As we have constructed RH table and we have evaluated the stability, it will not give exact location of the poles. Routh-Hurwitz criteria will not give exact location. Only how many are on right half of S plane, how many poles are on left half of S plane, how many are j omega axis. But it will not give the how many poles are lying on where exactly the location. By knowing the location of the poles, we can predict the how much system is relative. What the term, one more term which will be coming across is relative stability, whether it is more stable or lesser stable. So those things we can discuss by the term relative stability, for which you need to know the location of the poles. Nothing but the real part of the pole is required to assess the relative stability, but which we are unable to find the real part of the poles, only whether they are having negative, lying on LHS, RHS or j omega axis. So one of the drawback of this Routh-Hurwitz is there should not be any missing terms. First drawback, there should not be any missing terms. All the terms must present in the characteristic equation. First drawback. Second one is the RH criteria is applicable to only linear time invariant constant coefficient differential equations. Linear constant coefficient differential equations, for those only it is applicable to linear time invariant systems. The third drawback, it does not give exact location of the poles. Third drawback is the RH criteria will not give the exact location of poles. So when will not come to know the exact location, so assessing the relative stability is difficult. Whether the system is more prone to instability, all those things, relatively how much it is stable, those things we cannot predict by using RH criteria. And the last drawback is, as we will not come to know the location of the poles, it will not suggest any stability improvement method. It will not suggest any method to improve the stability, as we are unable to see the location of the poles. These are the four drawbacks of Routh-Hurwitz criteria. So once as without, but you need not to solve the characteristic equation. Only thing is just plot the RH table, see the sign changes. If there are no sign changes, system is stable. As many sign changes, those many poles are lying on right half of S plane, system is unstable. And from the auxiliary equation, you can find the purely imaginary location of the poles and at what frequency they are oscillating. So these are the concepts applicable to test the stability of a given system. If the open loop transfer function is given g of s into h of s, you need to find the closed loop characteristic equation 1 plus g of s into h of s, or directly the characteristic equation may be given as we are taken, consider the example. It may be given in directly the characteristic equation form, or they may give the transfer function. So if they provide open loop transfer function, you need to get the closed loop characteristic equation 1 plus g of s into h of s, which is the denominator polynomial, of the closed loop system. We will give to solve. If you solve, you will get the location of the poles. Then we can we can test the stability of a given system. And in this RH criteria, so before going for solving the numericals, there are two special cases. There are two special cases. So I'll be dealing these two special cases with directly numerical only. Directly with the numericals only. What are those special cases? So in this, where? Zero. Say for example, B1 may be 0. If A1 into A2 minus A0 A3 are same, this is 1 2, this is also 1 2. 1 into 2 minus 1 into 2, this becomes 0. So this is the first special case, and the second special case is nothing but, suppose if this to 1 2 1 1 2 1, 1 into 2 minus 1 into 2, 0. 1 into 1 minus 1 into 1, again 0. So in the second case is when particularly only the first column element is 0, the treatment is different. When all the elements of a row are 0, the treatment is little different. So these two cases will be dealing directly with the numericals. Directly with the numericals. So what is the other possibility of asking the numericals? The other possibility of way is nothing but, in the given characteristic equation, they may provide here the value of k. A5 is not an integer, but it is some constant k. So in that case, when the equation is given in this form, or g of s into h of s is considering k divided by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2, in that way, if it contains a constant k, in that case the characteristic equation will contain k. So in this such problems, you need to solve the same way. You have to construct a truth table. You have to construct truth table or truth array. Now once you construct the truth array, so what is the condition for system is to be stable? All the elements of first column of RH array must be positive. If you put that condition on the terms which are consisting k to be positive, we can predict the value of k. We can predict the limiting value of k. That will give you the limiting k maximum value. So for that k maximum value, the system is marginally stable. If the k is less than that maximum value, system is stable. K value is more than k max, system is unstable. So you need to find the range of k. You need to find the range of k. For which value of k, system is stable. And for which value of k, which is k max, system is marginally stable. For which value of k greater than k max, system is unstable. So there are totally around 5 to 6 different variety of numericals. So I will be taking one example of each. One without k, one with the value of k, 2, one with the special case when first column becomes 0, one with the special case when all the row elements are 0. So I will be discussing 4 numericals. For more numericals, you can go through the notes which I had posted on your group, official 4SEM group. So to start with the numericals, we'll see. Now if the time permits, we'll go to solve the numericals. Still, as there is 15 minutes, time is there. So we'll solve one simple numerical based on the RH criteria application. We'll consider a numerical. So we'll start with a simple fourth order system. Start with numerical. First one, test the stability, the problem definition, test the stability of a system represented by a characteristic equation a characteristic equation 8, 18, 16, 5 s raised to 4 8 s cube 18 s square 16 s plus 5. So here directly the characteristic equation is given. You need not to find 1 plus g of s into h of s. Now as the order is fourth order, so we'll start with writing the RH table, Routh-Hurwitz table. To construct Routh-Hurwitz table, write down the s terms with decreasing order of s terms: s raised to 4, s raised to 3, s raised to 2, s raised to 1, s raised to 0. Now if you want for clarity, write down rows also. Write down the rows. Right? Now starting with s raised to 4, write the coefficient of s raised to 4 as a first element. The next alternate term, even power of s term, next will be s square. So the s square coefficient is, the next power is s raised to 0. S raised to 0 is 5. Now for the second row, s cube, start with the coefficient of s cube. Next odd terms of coefficient of s term, power of s term, which is odd number, s raised to 3, s raised to 1. As there is no term, and so whenever there is a short of the elements, make them 0. Whenever there is a short of elements, to make the number of elements same in a row, you can add as extra zeros. Now once you get the first two rows are obtained from the given characteristic equation, the next thing is to obtain a square coefficient. As I had explained, to get the coefficient, 8 into 18 minus 1 into 16 divided by 8. 8 into 18 minus 1 into 16. 8 into 18 minus 1 into 16 divided by this term. Now to get the next coefficient, 8 into 5 minus 1 into 0 divided by 8. 8 into 5 minus 1 into 0 divided by 8. Now to get the next row, 4, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, you write down the expression. What are the determinants? You write down the values here. 8 into 18, 108. 8 into 18 minus 1 into 16. 18 into minus 1 into 16 divided by 8. How much you will get? 8 gets cancelled. This is 18 minus 2. I hope if I am correct. 18 minus 2, you will get 16 if I am correct. Just to check it. Now 8 into 5 minus 0 divided by 8. 8 gets cancelled. Now to get the next element, sorry. Now you need to write this is equal to 16, not here. This is equal to 5. Now there will be no term here. That will be 0 because there will be no determinants which can be formed. Now once you get this, now to get this term, 16 into 6 minus 8 into 5 divided by 16. 16 into 16 minus 8 into 5 divided by 16. Now this term, as you can see here, this is also 0. You can assume this as also 0. 16 into 0 minus this into 0 divided by 16. This will be 0. So now what is the element here? 16 into 16 minus 8 into 5. You can use your calci, and which you will get, if I am correct, just to check it. It is 13.5. It is 13.5. Now to get the last element. 13.5 into 5 minus 16 into 0 divided by 13.5. So this will be 13.5 into 5 minus 16 into 0 divided by 13.5. So this is minus 0 divided 13.5, 13.5 by 13.5. This is equal to 5. So as I told, the last coefficient will be always constant coefficient. The last coefficient will be always constant coefficient. Now we can write down. You can do these calculations all using your calculus, and you can directly write down. So to have the legibility, if you do everything here only, it will be difficult to complete the table. Do these calculations using calci, write directly the values. So once you complete this, just I will, for your legibility, I will write s raised to 4, s raised to 2, s raised to 1, s raised to 0. So write down the coefficients 1, 18, 5, 8, 16, 0, 16, 5. This will be 13.5. This will be 5. This is 0. Now, by observing array table, none of the sign changes, in first column, or there are no sign changes in the first column of array table. No sign changes, hence all roots are lying on LHS of S plane. Hence, system is, observe the sign changes. 1 is positive, 8 is positive, 16 is positive, 13 is positive, 5 is positive. Test there are sign changes. No sign change, no sign change, no sign change, no sign change. No sign changes,